This is the Npet M70. It's a gaming mouse that you can get for just $10, but is it worth the price? Or should you save your money and get something better? Let's get started. So first off, I want to talk about the features. This is a $10 gaming mouse, like I said, so it's not going to have all your super fancy features, but it seems to have the basic features that most mice have nowadays. There are 2 side buttons here. That's like not a whole lot. Some mice have more than that, but I think 2 is pretty standard, and I don't think many people are going to complain with having just 2 side buttons. There are also 2 buttons right here behind the scroll wheel. I think like default they're used to change the DPI, but you may be able to change them. I'm not entirely sure. They do have a software off their website which you can download to change the RGB. It does have RGB, like full RGB, which is really nice for a $10 gaming mouse. The scroll wheel is fine on this mouse. It can be clicked in like pretty much every other scroll wheel. It's not loud or anything. It's just pretty standard. Actually, I kind of like it. It has a little texture on there, which doesn't really matter, but it's pretty nice. The scroll wheel is also see-through, like partially see-through, so the RGB does go through the scroll wheel. There's also RGB in the front like this. It kind of like shines through there. It's just like see-through plastic. There's also RGB all back here on the sides, and it has a little logo with RGB. The RGB is good on this mouse. It's pretty bright for like a $10 gaming mouse, and you can change it with their software. I have had a couple problems with the RGB just randomly turning off. There is a button on the bottom to like switch it on and off, but sometimes it has problems. But there is like a way you can fix it with the software, which you can download for free on their website. So the clicks, I think they're optical clicks. I couldn't really find anything online telling me about them, but they don't double click or anything. And surprisingly, the clicks feel pretty decent. I will have a click test later on. Here's a quick sound test to just show you what it sounds like real quick. There will be a full sound test later on in the video. So the shape of this mouse is ambidextrous. The buttons are on the right side only, but it's a pretty ambidextrous shape. So the sensor on this mouse seems to work fine. It's like one of those like laser sensors, so it has like this red light. Overall, the sensor is fine. The liftoff distance, I mean, I don't think that's super great. It's not gonna be the best sensor ever, but I haven't had any problems with like lags or skips, which is really what's important for me. For $10, the sensor on this mouse works fine. It's not the best sensor ever, but unless you're like an esports gamer, I don't think you're really gonna care that much. The mouse feet on this mouse are fine. They're not the greatest mouse feet ever, but they seem to get the job done. Here you guys can see them a little bit better. Like, they're definitely not gonna be the best mouse feet. They are a lot better than like your standard office mouse feet, if you guys were wondering. The mouse feet on this mouse, I guess, would just be classified as okay. They're not the best mouse feet ever, but they're not terrible at the same time. Overall, they glide pretty decently. I think most people are gonna be fine with this. Unless you're like an esports gamer who needs like this super good mouse feet, they're pretty good. There are these little grooves here. They don't help me a whole lot, but they are kind of nice to just help your grip. It's just a nice little touch. They're just the same plastic as here, or I guess they're a little different. They're just hard plastic. And the coating on this mouse, it's somewhat soft actually, like surprisingly soft. It can like attract scratches though. Kind of a soft, smooth texture, but it is kind of grippy at the same time. This mouse is pretty heavy. That would be one of the downsides. It's not super heavy, like it's not G502 heavy, but it is pretty heavy. I don't have a scale to weigh this mouse, but overall it's pretty heavy. If you want like a super light mouse, then you should probably not buy this mouse, but I think most people aren't gonna complain. It's not like as heavy as like the G502 or something. So if you've been using the G502, this mouse actually feels a little bit light compared to that. It's not super heavy, but it is somewhat heavy. The cord on this mouse is just like your standard unbraided cord, and it is pretty heavy and not super flexible at all, which is kind of annoying, but it's a $10 mouse. I've used this mouse for 6 to 8 months and everything is still the same way it was. The mouse feet still seem the same, pretty much. They're not perfect anymore, but they're fine. Nothing is broken. All the clicks work well. All the buttons work the same. So overall, this mouse can last you a while, I think. This mouse could probably last you a while, maybe a couple of years if you took good care of it. It just depends like who uses it. I'm not like super destructive with my mouse. and like I don't really rage and destroy my mouse, but I think some people might do that. And overall, this mouse can withstand like quite a bit of force. The build quality is pretty good on here. There's no like flex or anything. I'm squeezing the mouse pretty hard right here, and it's solid. So here's the part you've all been waiting for probably. Should you buy this mouse? And my answer to that is yes, but it kind of depends like who you are and what you want. If you've been using an office mouse and you just want like a gaming mouse but you don't want to spend a ton of money, this mouse is pretty good. It's a lot better than like your standard office mouse. This is a gaming mouse, so it has a lot of features gaming mice have, so it's going to be a lot better for gaming than an office mouse, and it is relatively comfortable to hold. And overall, I think it is worth the $10, but I think it just depends, like if you want like a super light gaming mouse with like a really good sensor and like maybe you want a wireless one, this mouse is probably not for you, and you probably can't get that for $10, but for $10, this gaming mouse is pretty good. So if you guys found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed. You don't have to, but it would just really help my channel grow considering I'm only at 3 subscribers. Also, there is going to be a click test right after this. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye. Okay, so I'm going to do a click test now. So here's left click. And then we have right click here. Now we have these side buttons. That's the back side button, and then the front side button. And these 2 top buttons. If you guys notice, this changes the DPI, which also changes the color, just by the way. And then we have the scroll wheel here. Okay, thanks for watching.